Tonight, the S&P down for the fifth day in a row, sinking deeper into bear market territory. This as President Biden was touting the economic progress made on his watch, while acknowledging that the inflation crisis is taking a toll on American families.
Under my plan for the economy, we made extraordinary progress. And we put America in a position to tackle a worldwide problem that's worse everywhere but here: inflation. It's sapping the strength of a lot of families.
So this is coming as the Fed meets tomorrow and is expected to take aggressive action on interest rates, likely raising them by 3/4 of a percentage point. Okay, when you've had rates basically hovering around zero for years, that's a lot. And it is, in fact, by any measure, a lot. It is the biggest hike. A 3/4 point in one meeting would be the biggest hike in nearly 3 decades, 30 years. Out front now, Jim Bianco, economic analyst and the president of Bianco Research. So, Jim, how big of a deal would it be at this point for the Fed to do this, to come out and raise interest rates by 3/4 of a percentage point?
It'll be a big deal because they're signaling that they're going to get aggressive on interest rates. Tomorrow's expected rate hike of 0.75% is not alone going to be the difference maker. But if it's the start of more such hikes, and the market does expect at the next meeting in July that they're going to do it again, that the cumulative of all of that should have some very powerful action on the economy.
I mean, that would be, if you think about it, right, within a month, a 1.5% increase just in the base rate. I mean, it's a pretty stunning thing. And in the context, Jim, as I said, of recent years, where interest rates haven't even been things that people have had to think about, right? These numbers are enormous. They're also enormous objectively within the context of 30 years of history. But even these kinds of increases, given what we're seeing on inflation, it might take even more, right, to stop the inflation genie now that it's out of the bottle.
Yeah, it might, but let's remember what the Fed is trying to do. The fancy word they use is tightening financial conditions. You and I might know that as lower the stock market. And if you lower the stock market, hopefully it will get people to pause or at least roll back some of their spending. That will take the demand for goods and services down a little bit and remove inflation. So what they're trying to accomplish is to, make us all look at the stock market a little bit more skeptically, and hopefully that will translate into our everyday purchases in order to bring inflation down. That's not exactly what we want them to do, but that's the only tool that they have right now.
Right. Well, it's a blunt one, but when you get to this point, and again, like this is you had money coming out during the COVID money, right? You had the Fed flooding the economy with money. I mean, this has been many, many years of this getting to this point. But in terms of pointing the blame, Biden today railed against record corporate profits. He demanded that companies pay more in taxes. Now, he's focused specifically on oil companies as gas prices have hit record highs. So when you look at the math here, because, by the way, there is math to be done, right? You look at corporate profits. Are they playing a real role in the inflation crisis, or is this more of a political punching bag?
No, it's more political. They're not playing as big a role. The reason that gas prices are at a new all-time high at $5.02 nationwide is largely because of the supply-demand imbalance. We're demanding more gasoline than we can currently produce, making it up through imports. And if you were to subtract from it whatever the corporate profits are, you might take a couple of pennies off of that number, maybe a nickel or a dime at most. But then does anybody feel better because we're at $4.92 on gas? So it's not really the real major problem. Major problem right now is we can't refine enough crude oil into gasoline for what we're demanding.
And that's the bottom line. That's what has to be addressed. All right, Jim Bianco, thank you very much ahead of this crucial Fed decision tomorrow. And next, the January 6th committee released